What's up YouTube, Billy here. Welcome back to the shop. Today I would like to make a Green Lantern ring. Not just any Green Lantern ring. I got a couple things that I really want to do. One, I want it made out of wood. Two, I want it to glow so it looks real. And three, I want it to glow when you put it on your finger and stop glowing when you take it off. So to do that, I'm gonna have to do some wiring. We need some lights. I think I'm gonna make it out of maple because maple is nice and smooth. It'll be comfortable on my finger. So I'm gonna grab some wood, start milling it up so that we've got the wood to start putting together our components. Cue that dramatic music. I built up two pieces of wood. One's a little bit thicker than the other. So the thicker one, we'll end up putting a hole in here that fits my finger. Then we'll cut it to size and do some shaping and sculpting and stuff to make it where it's not cumbersome so it actually fits my finger and it's comfortable. The thinner piece is actually where all the pretty stuff's gonna be at. So this is the part that's gonna have the Green Lantern symbol. It's also gonna have the LEDs, the batteries, all the components that we need to make this ring work. So before we talk about LEDs, let's talk about batteries. These are the LEDs we're going to use. Look at these cute little guys. This is a microscopic LED and it's hard to see even on camera. All of this is just the wire which can all be cut off. The actual light is this tiny little, right, that little speck right there. That's it. So this is an awesome little light. The downside is they are fragile, so we have to be careful with it when we're doing the installation. When it comes to batteries, there's a couple different ways to go. These lights run on a 3-volt circuit. So you can either use a 3-volt battery, or you could use two 1.5-volt batteries and connect the wires together. Or you can use a bigger battery, but then use something like this, which is a resistor that will reduce the amount of voltage to the light so it doesn't burn out. Theoretically, you could hook this straight up to a 9-volt battery and the light will glow and then it will burn out. So you want to keep it to the least amount of volts as possible so that we don't burn out our light. There are a couple different ways to go when it comes to batteries. You can get all these different sizes, and some of these are 1.5 volt and some of them are 3-volt batteries. I like this one right here. It is a little bit bigger as far as the diameter goes, but it is ultra thin and is 3 volts. So this one battery will power my lights. Another option though is to use these little tiny guys, these microscopic dudes here. Each one of those is 1.5 volts. These are typically used for hearing aids. So that might be where you can find these batteries. I haven't seen them at the local big box store, but you can get them at a battery place. And you can stack them together and then use that. The good side about that is they are super tiny. The downside is they're thicker when you put them together than the 3-volt. So it really depends on what your project is and how much space you have for it. You can't go wrong either way. Now how this particular light works is there are two wires. There's a copper coated one and a regular one. If we put the copper coated one on one side of the battery on the positive side and the other one on the negative side, you will see, ta-da! Our light comes on. Now another route to go is we could use something like this, which is a battery pack with two AA batteries, and this has a particular switch on it that will make it so we can turn this off and on. So if we take our alligator clips, clip it to our wire, clip it to this wire, we turn the switch on, ta-da, it comes on. Now we can add as many of these lights as we want to. It really depends on what your project is. Now this is obviously way too big for a Green Lantern ring, but the same concept works. Battery, we can have a switch if we want to, we make the light work. I decided I want to use this guy here, the wider diameter, but thinner, so that it's gonna fit good inside a ring. And we're gonna take our thin piece. What I need to do is I need to route out a circle for this to fit into. We'll probably have to have a hole. On the other side, we can make a bigger circle, and that's where our light will go into, but also a Green Lantern symbol. Then we can put our light through here, bring the cables out, put a positive on this side, inside there, so when we stick our battery in, it will make contact with that. Then we can run our negative out this way and figure out a way in which that can touch the battery, the light will come on, and when it doesn't touch it, it will turn off. Now there are a couple different ways that we can cut out a hole, but in this case, I'm gonna go over to the CNC and I'm gonna bore out a hole that will house the battery. We'll cut all this out so that it's a circle, and that's gonna go on top of our board here that will hold the ring. And once all those are together, then we're gonna start doing some shaping and sculpting and make this look like a ring instead of just two boards glued together. I got the ring top done and it looks pretty good. We've got a nice little area here that will hold the LED and the Green Lantern symbol. It's nice and deep. And then the back here, I cut out the spot for the battery and it's a friction fit right in there. Perfect fit. See, it doesn't fall out, but there's a little notch there so I can stick something in there and pop that battery out whenever I need to. So now I gotta take this and make a band for it so it'll actually fit on my finger. So I'm gonna take this board over to the drill press. Hopefully I can find a drill bit that's close to the diameter of my finger, drill a hole, we'll bring this back over, and then I have to do a little bit of shaping with a chisel. I wanna round over some of the edges here because I want that band to clamp over on the sides of this so it inlays into the band. I think that's gonna give us the cleanest, prettiest look. I got a block with a hole in it, fits my finger. I guess we could just stop here and paint it green, but I don't think it would have that Green Lantern-y effect that we're looking for. So now it's time to take our top and stick it into here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on top, I'm gonna trace it, and then we're gonna start doing some chisel work. I trace this and this is the area I wanna cut away, but you know what? I think I'm gonna go over to the drill press, drill out most of this, then come back with the chisels. Hooray! I drilled away most of the waste on the drill press, and I went to go clean this up with chisels to round it over, and then I remembered I got this little sanding attachment on my Dremel. I always forget about this little guy. This is gonna be perfect, so I'm gonna use this instead. Before I take these two parts, put them together and make a ring, I want to do the LED light and the battery and get all that worked out because it's going to be much easier to do it now than after it's together. So I need to drill a hole right through the middle, and that is going to be so the light can stick through. After that, then we'll work on the wiring to the battery. I really like to make this pressure sensitive, so whenever you put it on, your finger presses a wire up against the battery, and when it touches the battery, the light comes on. When you take the ring off, it turns off. I'm working with materials I have on hand, so we'll give it a shot. This is so awesome. I think I used some glue to hold it in place from the underside once I get all the wiring worked out. I'm shortening the wire length. I'm going to start with the positive. Now this wire has a coating on it, so you can't use it just by snipping it. You got to burn or sand that coating off. So you can take some sandpaper and rub it with some sandpaper to get it off, or you could go the super fast way and use a soldering iron and just barely touch with a soldering iron and burn that coating off. I got Doc Ock out to help me with holding stuff, and I also put a box fan that's blowing that way to help suck some of the air, because whenever you use a soldering iron, you can get kind of stinky. I'm gonna clamp my light in here and I'm just gonna burn off the tip of this wire to get that coating off. I haven't cut the negative wire yet, but I'm sticking the light into the hole, and I curled the positive wire up so it's just sitting there like so. Now, let's test it. Battery. Stick the battery in. Okay. Battery is in, the light is just poking up. Let's touch the negative to it and see what happens. Ta-da! Oh, lights are so cool. So at this point, I think what I want to do is I'm going to glue this light into place so that that is secure, and then I can focus on the negative wire. Now, pro tip for you. If you're working with these micro LEDs, it is super easy for these wires to break off of the bulb. They are barely on there. These things are so tiny. So what you can do is put a drop of glue around the light bulb here. You could use CA glue. I've used hot glue. Either one of them works. It doesn't impede the light, but at least it will help to hold the wires onto the light, and you're less likely to have them break off. I got the light glued into place. I have the battery in here, and I drilled this teeny hole over to the side so my negative wire can feed out the side and around. That way the wire doesn't impede the battery at all. And whenever I touch it, it still works, which is awesome. So now we need to deal with this negative wire and trying to make the light come on. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to trim it short. I need to solder the end of it to get that coating off. And then what I'm going to try to do is I got this piece of Velcro. This is the soft side of the Velcro, and it has this adhesive sticker on it. What I'm thinking is I can stick that negative wire to that adhesive, stick this onto the bottom, and maybe that will not have enough pressure for it to dip down and touch the battery, but when you put the ring on, your ring, since it's curved, will naturally fit in there. That will give enough pressure. It will make contact with the battery, the light will come on. We're going to try it and see. If it doesn't work, I'll try something else. Okay, moment of truth. I am dry fitting this together before I glue it to make sure everything works. Getting the orientation right. Needs to be a little bit deeper. Here we go. All right, so now the light is off. When I put it on, theoretically, the light should come on. Okay. I'm not going to say that I didn't think it would work. I'm just saying I wasn't sure if it would work. That's so cool. Okay, so now I need to glue this together, and then we'll start doing some sculpting and put that Green Lantern symbol in there, because it's not a Green Lantern ring without the symbol. It's time to glue this thing together. Give us one solid piece. The ring's out of the clamps, so now we get to actually shape it to make it look like it's fancy. So I'm going to take this compass and I'm going to draw around my circle here. It shows me how much material I need to take off, and then we're going to use a whole combination of tools to get the job done. This looks so good. Oh, it's so smooth, and when you put it on, it fits like a glove. It doesn't feel cumbersome or anything like that, so that if you were to wear it at a convention doing a cosplay, I don't think that you would grow tired of it. And it's also really light. But we're missing one thing, which is we need the Green Lantern symbol. It's not a Green Lantern ring without the symbol. We got to do that. Fortunately, I used my laser cutter to make this tiny little symbol. Oh, it's so tiny. Look at it, it's so delicate. And it fits perfectly right in the middle of our ring. It's time to turn our Green Lantern ring green. And to do that, I'm going to use some dye stain. I used this whenever I did the Oracle mask, which was a pretty sweet project, and it was maple just like this is. Need a stir. Green Lantern rings are usually completely green. You don't usually see a bunch of contrast with them. Just going to use a little paintbrush. Get it all up in there. It looks so cool seeing this maple turn such a vivid color. I think this green is going to look even better whenever I put finish on it. I'm thinking I will put just a little bit of shellac, just enough to seal the color in. I don't want to put anything too heavy on the parts that touch your skin. What I do like about dye stains is how quickly you can work with them. Usually they are dry to the touch and ready to go in a few hours. Oh, just seeing that symbol turn green. Oh, it's awesome. It is so awesome. That is so cool. The dye is dry on the ring. I'm going to apply a little bit of shellac to all the surfaces except for down inside where the lantern symbol is. I'm going to leave that one bare, and I have a plan for that. But I'm just using this tiny brush so that I can get in here, apply this nice and smooth, because this is the part that's going to be touching my finger. That green comes to life. Oh, I love it. The shellac's going to help keep the green so it doesn't wear off over time. Just going to lock in the color. I don't really want to layer this stuff. There are so many ways that we could have made this ring. Oh, if I had a 3D printer, I could have printed this in some sort of green plastic. What if you did aluminum on a CNC? You could do a mold, like silicone mold, and mold your ring. There are so many options. I don't have any silicone stuff, never really worked with it. I would like to one day. I don't have any aluminum or aluminum cutting bits. I don't have a 3D printer, but it's all good. Why would we let not having those particular tools stop us? We can always figure out a way to make something regardless of the tools we have if we really, really want to. Wood seems a little bit thirsty. It's really soaking it in. The good thing about shellac is it dries super duper fast. Very cool. Okay, the top here. I don't want to get it in there where the light is. And that's not because it impacts the light at all. That's not the reason for it. I want to do this band, the circle, do the top of that, and the top of our symbol. I feel like Bob Ross right now. Happy little lanterns. There are no mistakes, just yellow lanterns that are misguided. That looks cool. Do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I don't think I own the rights to that. I'm gonna let this dry for a few minutes. It really doesn't need very long because shellac dries so fast. And then we got one final step. And I think that secret step is what's gonna make this the greatest Green Lantern ring ever forged. This part is really exciting because what we're gonna do now is around the Green Lantern symbol in that circle, we're gonna fill it with resin. Not just any resin, green resin that glows in the dark. Yes, glow in the dark resin. It's pretty brilliant, really. There's a couple reasons why this is a good option. One of them is that when we fill this with green, it's gonna look really cool even whenever you're not wearing it and the light's not on. Another reason is that we're gonna cover over that LED, so when the light is on, the light is going to be diffused and spread out. That's gonna look like the ring is glowing, and that's gonna look really cool. And the third reason is it's glow in the dark. Like, here's how it works. You put a UV light on it and you shine it, and then it glows when you don't have studio lights on in a giant window. I'll prove it later. I'm gonna pour some powder in here. That's a lot of powder. All right, I gotta stir this. I gotta stir it. The bottle says kiwi, and it looks like a light green, but when you mix it with the resin, it is straight up Slimer green. I'm gonna try to be somewhat controlled with this. I don't want to fill it to the very top. I want it a little bit recessed. Wipe off any of the extra that's on the surface, and now we let it dry. This ring turned out so cool. It lights up. I've never dealt with LED lights on such a miniature scale before, so I definitely learned a ton. Plus, it glows in the dark. I mean, how cool is that? So if you like this project, then please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified the next time I publish a video. Until we meet again, get in your shop and build something awesome. Another project down. Time to finish up this one.
Billy Newton of Sector 2814, you have the ability to overcome great fear.
What do you mean overcome great fear? Like from internet trolls?
The Guardians of Oa have identified you as someone with great willpower.
But how do you gauge willpower? Is there like a meter or a thermometer?
Just put on the ring.
Okay, fine.
Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps.
Holy crap.
To Oa.
Wait.